Recovery following breast cancer surgery. Previously, I've tried to give an answer to this question, but it's obviously a very big question because, quite frankly, there are different kinds of breast surgery. There are different recovery times. There's a different extent of surgery. But let's focus right now on recovery following mastectomy with a flap rotation. Now, I've previously shared with you here at Breast Cancer Answers the kinds of flaps that we can rotate in to a reconstructed mastectomy site. One of the traditional ones is called the tram flap, from the belly rotating skin, subcutaneous fat, and the rectus muscle up into the mastectomy site, particularly if a large amount of skin has been removed. That particular type of reconstruction has been around, I think, for about 25 years. So that's called a rotational tram. There's now a free tram where we disconnect the vessels down below, reconnect them up here at the site. Big operations. So, there are other flaps from the back, bringing the muscle and tissue around, called the latissimus dorsi flap. The deep flap is another type of flap, from the abdominal wall up. So one of the reasons I think flap reconstruction has become less and less over time has been because these are really big operations and the recovery times can be quite long. And depending on what's going on here on the abdominal wall, some of the recoveries down here on the abdominal wall can frankly be tougher and harder on patients than the recoveries up here. In my own clinical experience, one of the easier flap reconstructions to recover from is the latissimus dorsi flap being brought around with usually a small implant. My clinical experience is patients recover quite nicely from that. The recovery from the deep or the tram flaps is really dependent on the size of the area taken. Theoretically, the deep flap patients recover a little bit better because you've got less being moved up. But quite frankly, this is highly variable. So one of the questions that's come in recently is from a patient who is some period of time out and thinking, gosh, why don't I feel normal? Why am I still having discomfort? My advice to any of you is always go back to your original plastic surgeons and breast surgeons. Make sure that technically there isn't something wrong down below. One of the consequences of these flaps from the abdomen can be the development of a hernia. And that hernia could be painful. So maybe that's what's going on. And then please understand that the bigger the operations, potentially the longer the recovery, but always be working with a multidisciplinary team to try and get to the bottom of your particular set of circumstances. Hi, I'm Dr. Jay Harness, and I want to share with you important information that I believe that every newly diagnosed patient with breast cancer needs to know.
I'm a breast cancer survivor.
I am a breast cancer survivor.
I am a breast cancer survivor.
And I want every woman to know
about personalized breast cancer treatment
and the genomic test.
A test that helps guide a woman and her doctor
to the best treatment options for her.
Pass it on.